Hi, this is Carrie Margaret from Create Love. Welcome back. And what I have for you today is, what if we're all experiencing a rebirth of sorts? Maybe even more than a rebirth, almost like a transformation from, the caterpillar to the chrysalis to the butterfly. And what if that's exactly what is happening in all models of relationships? And so there is sort of a wisdom in the old relationships. There is a wisdom that will emerge and carry through, but we're stepping into brand new models of relating. I was thinking about what really I want to do here with Create Love. And I started looking at different, patterns and models and what people are talking about between men and women. And it's dizzying in terms of the level of arguments and frustrations between the sexes, and people talking about what's really going on with the younger generations that are dating less and mating less, and what are all of these trends telling us. And I don't think we can take this whole part of what is relating out of the context of what is going on in the entire planet. If you are alive today, you are going through a transformation, whether or not you want to or not. I think a lot of people have felt in the past few years huge amounts of things being stirred up. Now, for some people that shows up in a large way. I think for most people it shows up in at least one way, but in a large way, personally and on the inside space. Maybe old patterns of anything. It could be, codependency, people pleasing, boundaries, conflict, infidelities, frustrations, all of the different things in the relating space. These different things are betrayals, are coming up for people to see, to be in. It's almost like when there is something on the bottom of a glass and then you stir up the glass and then all the impurities come up for people to be able to see them. We've been allowed to see all of these things individually, and it is happening on a much larger level socially as well. And at the same time, there is all this emergence of new models of being, of new ways of being, and we're really in this big transition point. Nobody can really escape it. I mean, whether or not, and I believe in a world of unity, so all of this, whether or not you believe in global warming or, there are climate changes that are happening, and they're very drastic and very large. Just a few days ago in San Diego, there was huge flooding. There are things happening in all different places all over the world. As somebody who used to be a bit of a nomad and traveler for many years, I have been seeing this trend of little micro storms, tornadoes, different things in different places of the world where they don't usually have them, or intensification of weather for quite a few years with my own eyes in different places. And usually it's not reported in the news. So all of these things, whether or not you believe in that there's change going on, there's a huge amount of change going on in the planet. And we're seeing all of these changes and things that look on the outside like conflict or disagreements, or all of these different things happening on the outside, whether that was in the middle of the pandemic or related to elections or related to power structures, like the Black Lives Movement. All of these different things are being stirred up so that we can see them. And we are stepping into the possibility of a new way of relating, because the old systems around in the world are not going to be able to move forward and support humanity and the planet as they are. It's a moment of transformation. It's actually a very exciting moment. It's a moment for all of us that feel called to be the artists, the disruptors, the creatives, the misfits, the leaders, the source of more transformation and a more harmonious way of living. And I'm seeing that all of this is happening within the space of relating to. So that means in any kind of like model system that we're looking at, there are going to be these older models of being that we're going to, that are going to move forward, like old wisdom that is going to move forward. Adrienne Maree Brown talks about this in her book, Emergent Strategy, that as things are disrupted and they move around, as pieces are disrupted and there's a new creation project, there are going to be new like emergent models or fractals that like show up all around the world for people to see as new models of being, of doing, of creating, of living together. And I realized that with Create Love, with this YouTube channel and with this podcast, it's not just, I'm not just here to talk to you about my own experience or various misunderstandings or conflict that can happen between men and women, and to bridge that and help each men and women see each other with more compassion and more understanding so that they can build better relationships between each other. It's not that I'm just doing that. It's that I'm holding space for the emergence of new ways of being and relating in relational spaces, in romantic relationships, in other relationships, because that's what we're in the middle of, whether or not we want it or not. I personally think it's tremendously exciting that this is the time, for the poets, for the mystics, for the artists, for the spiritual leaders, for the doers, for the creatives, for like all of us, that we want to move forward and create something beautiful in our own lives and for everyone else. So I just want to leave that with you, that sometimes even something that you may be feeling interpersonally, like this pattern that keeps on showing up in your relationship, or a challenge that you keep on like hitting up against in an interpersonal relationship, is that what if you think, oh, well, this is actually happening for me, that I am in this level of experience so I can witness it, so I can be with it, so I can let the new emerge. If you think of yourself, if you think of your relationships almost like, the butterfly going into the chrysalis, the caterpillar going into the chrysalis, going into the butterfly, that, in a lot of ways, a lot of us are in the chrysalis right now. We're in the experience of letting go of the old and creating more of the new. And the new will have components. It'll have components of that, of like different proteins and structures and components of the caterpillar, and it's going to be a new version of the butterfly that emerges. So a new version of you, a new version of way of relating. And so a lot of these kind of like little complaints or frustrations that even happen within relating, it's like, can you open yourself up to the possibility that something amazing is about to come into your life and could come into your life in the future moving forward? Could you open yourself up to the possibility that there are new emerging ways for people to love one another, to connect, and to have all of that passion and goodness and magic and fun and playfulness, and while still holding the vulnerability and the realness and the deliciousness and like the bittersweetness and the ups and downs of all of life. Just think of all of the magic that might be awaiting you. This is Carrie Margaret from Create Love.